Soon I'll give you the link to the channel. Let me open YouTube, make sure that we have good audio. Let me share my Discord tab. So far, so good. Yes. Could you count to 3?
1, 2, 3.
Okay, let's wait for YouTube to respond to that. Very good. Excellent. So let me mute YouTube. Let me give you the link so you have the link. You has the link. What do you do for a living, by the way? Oh, I gave you the StreamYard. I meant,
I just started a pharmaceutical job. I don't know how long I'll be there. They want me to buy like obviously pharmaceutical companies are pretty problematic in the first place because they profit off of people's illness. Of course, they make drugs that save people's lives, which is
mm-hmm,
important, but
mm-hmm.
just how the whole system is set up is not ideal.
What
So
would
that's what
you improve?
unions for throughout the workforce, accommodations for Jains and vegans in the workforce.
So why don't you start a union?
Uh, it's I would if it was easy. You know, it's not easy. You have to talk about it, and talking about it can be dangerous.
Wait, isn't it illegal to fire you because of unionizing?
They can come up with some other reason. Pretty easy, especially if there's no unions.
Mm-hmm. I see. How would you feel if all the employers would unionize against all the workers? Like the workers have the legal ability to unionize, but if a bunch of employers unionize, that's called a cartel, and that's like super illegal. So isn't
I
that
don't
like,
know. Like, I'm not super politically savvy, but like
mm-hmm.
it sounds not too dissimilar to what we have now. I mean, you have like if the wealthier the corporation, the more power it has in politics, specifically in the US. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, is it really all that dissimilar?
But right now, if two companies coordinate anything, that's illegal. I mean, that's really illegal. That's called a cartel or something. And I mean, people can easily go to jail if they
Yeah,
do that.
I don't know a lot about that. I know that like there are like certain um intermingling that companies can do. Um,
What do you
like
mean?
services that they can exchange between each other. Like for
Right.
instance, a particular company that I'm
But
currently employed at, they have like a contract with like a particular shoe company or something.
Mhm. I see. So you were asking why do I have a channel if I barely have subscribers?
Yeah, it's like you're not. Is it just for fun? Like you're not really making money. I know you're not making money off of it.
Right.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but you seem to be very like adamant that like people debate you.
Mm-hmm.
You seem to be very persistent as well, and
Mm-hmm.
I find that curious.
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that I found out that debating is the best way for me to achieve truth, to realize the truth, to learn the truth about something. So I make a like if I have an intuition about something, then I turn it into a proposition and I debate people about it. And and then we together figure out whether it's a true or false proposition, if I need to fix it, if I need to reject it. And so it's a good way to arrive at the truth. So if you don't mind losing debates, then it's okay. If you're here to win debates, then it's not so good. But if you are a truth seeker, then debating is fantastic because your debate partner is going to teach you. He's going to come up with everything he's got. And a lot of the people here are kind of smart, have a lot of information. So you're basically getting a free education
Do you
sometimes.
consider what's the difference between a debate and a discussion?
Like what we're having now, that's a discussion, and it's good. You're asking me very deep questions about myself that I usually don't think about, so that's really good for me. So thank you. But we can also debate it. Like a debate is a little better because, like, if you talk to a bunch of people and they start dogpiling you, then you have to stop and say, okay, I need a debate partner. I cannot talk to 5, 10 people at once. That's just noise. So let's do a formal debate. So at that point, you would summon a formal debate, and that would quiet the channel so that it could be one on one. And that's one advantage. Another advantage is that sometimes in a discussion, people use logical fallacies. Like they call you, well, you're misinformed. So according to the rules of a debate, if you say the word "you," that's basically an ad hominem, and that's a logical fallacy. So you can easily tell them, no, you cannot reference me. So telling me that I'm misinformed is not an argument, for example. Um, a debate is just it's just a bunch of rules in order to have a clean discussion with minimizing logical fallacies. It's a shortcut to just that minimize logical fallacies.
See.
It's like
Um,
mhm.
yeah, I mean, I would say discussion is probably the route to some truth.
Sure.
Like, but I would not consider debate the route to truth personally, because debate it be there are these you can have a disagreement, but still like okay, I have this disagreement. I could be wrong, or you could be wrong. Let's discuss the evidence.
Right.
Let's look at it as objectively as we humanly can. Of course, we're not perfectly objective, so it could fail.
Exactly.
Um, so that's what I would consider a way to seek truth. I do not consider that a debate. A debate to me
Mhm.
is like, oh well, I'm going to use rhetoric and even go so far as like some form of like um I would say, how do I put this? Um like even manipulation. I don't know if that's I think that's too strong of a word. But like
I
I'm
I
gonna try and like pin this guy to a corner. I'm gonna get him with a gotcha so that I'm a victor. It's a sport. Like debate to me is like a sport and is not very interested. Like sometimes you can get truth from debate, but at its core, I have not found much. Like I found that discussion is much better in terms of truth.
Right. I agree, but like sometimes you have a person like Vegan Gains, a Fallon. So you have a person like Vegan Gains, and he invites people to debate. Wait, someone just joined my StreamYard. Oh, Playboy Chris. Playboy Chris, I'm on Discord. Why don't you join us on Discord? I'm on Ask Yourself. No, I'm busy with. Let's talk later. I'll talk to you later because I'm busy. I'm having a good discussion, so I'll talk to you later. Also, Chris, why don't you send me an email so I can contact you whenever so we can discuss things. Anyway, so like if you have a person like Vegan Gains, so he only invites people to debate. If you don't debate him, then he bans you. If you so he doesn't leave you much of a choice. So you have to. And I mean, I think he is extremely bad faith. So you really need to develop and sharpen your debate skills in order to have a chance at debating him. I mean, he uses a lot of logical fallacies, and you have to spend time thinking about these logical fallacies and be prepared so that when he throws a logical fallacy at you, you have to block it. Otherwise, like he's gonna run you over. And the same goes for Ask Yourself and Dr. Avi. I mean, I think they're both very bad faith debaters. And the only way you can talk to them is through a debate. They wouldn't talk to you unless, you know, you absolutely use the most formal logic. And they're going to employ every bad faith tactic, every logical fallacy. They're going to throw at you everything in order to pretend that they win. So you really need to sharpen your debate skills in order to have a chance with these people.
You think Dr. Avi is bad faith?
Yes, yes, extremely. I mean, listen to the video. I mean, he was refusing to discuss the body of the email. He kept pretending as if it's, you know, it's impossible to understand my claim that veganism is utter nonsense. It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean by utter? What do you mean by nonsense? Is it this? Is it that? So it's like these people. I mean, I sent him an email, a very simple email. Like this was like a year ago or something. I sent him a very simple email. I told him veganism is as ethical as Nazism. So if you claim your veganism is ethical, then that's nonsense. Veganism is ethical. Veganism is nonsense because it's as ethical as Nazism. So he said,
Yeah,
okay.
Slave.
Mhm.
I would ask you the same question if I was him. I would say, well, what specifically do you mean by utter nonsense? Do you mean uninterpretable? Do you mean you dislike it? Do you mean this? Do you mean that? Like, that's not unreasonable for him to ask at all, in my eyes. I would do the same thing probably.
Then I said, you know what? But towards the end of the discussion, I told him, I told Ask Yourself, fine, let's rephrase the discussion as veganism is as ethical as Nazism. And he said, well, Dr. Avi would not debate you on that because Dr. Avi concedes that veganism is as ethical as Nazism. But that was my email. The title I put on that is that ethical veganism is nonsense because if you claim something is ethical because it's as ethical as Nazism, well, obviously that's nonsense.
What
That's
do you
what
mean by ethical?
what do I mean by ethical? It doesn't even
Yeah.
matter. It doesn't matter because Dr. Avi concedes that veganism is as ethical as Nazism. So he concedes that. So I don't need to explain any of these terms. It's a mathematical statement, like 1 plus 1 equals 2. He conceded 1 plus 1 equals 2. He conceded veganism is as ethical as Nazism. He conceded that. So all I'm saying is, well, if you claim your way of life is as ethical as Nazism, well, obviously your way of your way of life is not ethical. I mean, that's nonsense. It's nonsense to consider that ethical. You have made nonsense out of the word ethics. Your ethics are nonsense. You have
Yeah, I
to.
mean, I don't know. Like, I don't like.
Hmm.
I'm fine with Dr. Avi and AY. Like, I haven't really talked to them that like hardly at all. But like, I mean, so I don't really have. But I also don't really have like a strong opinion about them. I would just say like the term ethics
Hmm.
is not a very useful term.
Exactly.
I think if we say the question of like is veganism is far more compassionate than Nazism. That is a true statement.
No, 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 no. I mean, I agree with you that by using the word ethical, that's the beginning of their end. I made a whole video about this. See, if you claim to be an ethical person, then I'm going to prove mathematically that you are as ethical as the Nazis, and you cannot get away from that.
If we say
Mm-hmm.
that all conscious creatures, that is to say, all creatures with brains, right,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, can be shown compassion, can be shown healing towards their physical and mental well-being. That is, even though the mental is physical, it's we still say physical and mental. Then it would follow that veganism is far more compassionate than carnism. If if there is no like fascistic tendencies by that vegan, like if they're like me, wherever like I do vegan outreach, but I don't like advocate for like weird like mistreatment of like or weird abuse of like carnists, then it would follow that a vegan is necessarily more compassionate than the carnist by these rules.
Um, that's, I think that has, let me think, it has, I think, nothing to do with my discussion with Dr. Avi. We did not
Yeah, but I'm
discuss.
saying that ethics. I'm just saying that like if we get
Oh,
away
okay, right.
from this sort of vague term of ethics,
Mm-hmm.
where like it means something different to different people,
Mm-hmm.
and we focus directly on the act of healing other individuals and
Mm-hmm.
preventing their harm,
Mm-hmm.
then what I said is also more, I think, yeah, what I said is like is more accurate. Like it is an accurate statement to say that vegans are engaging in compassion on a greater scale. Do
Then
you concede?
no, of course not.
Okay.
So you think you're
Listen,
more?
I want to cut in before y'all get off topic. So, Slave,
Mm,
if you're telling me that you went in there and what you basically wanted to say is that morality is in the eye of the beholder, why didn't you just communicate that when you were in there? Right? Because it sounds like there was just a communication error. Because I know Avi and ask yourself, they're not moral realists.
wait.
They're obviously not. And you could tell that easily by their views. Same with vegan gains. They're all, they all will tell you that morality can't be proven to be anything other than subjective. So I don't know if well, actually I do remember your discussion with them. I don't know why it is that when you went in there you didn't just communicate that instead of just like repeating that their claim is an utter nonsense, right? Because that sounds vague, and I don't even know what their original claim is, but I doubt it's anything that hard to figure out because they're usually very good about being clear on what they mean.
Some of the problem is that they would not let me speak freely. They were trying to nail me down with questions, and I, I didn't know where they're trying to go. So, I was trying to speak freely. They would not let me speak freely until the end. And only in the end, I was able to finally speak freely, make one sentence, and thoroughly mop the floor with Ask Yourself's face when I said, I want the proposition to be that veganism and Nazism are morally equivalent. And he said, yeah, I concede. So fine, that I don't need more than that. So, he wouldn't let me speak for 2 hours, but when he finally let me propose something,
So
he
wait, what
Mhm,
Fallen just said that
Oh,
makes
wait,
more
I gotta
sense.
go soon, so I'm gonna say one last thing because I gotta go after this.
mhm.
I'll just say like I know them, and the reason why they kept like interjecting is because they have very little patience for what they perceive to be someone going off subject, right? And that's due to past experiences. So that's all that is there. But like I will tell you right now, they are the best faith debaters I've ever encountered. Like if you want another discussion with them, if you just give them a proposition and are willing to clarify it, they're willing to have the discussion. So
They conceded the
like yeah,
proposition. Veganism and Nazism are morally equivalent. I don't need to say anything else.
yeah, that
But
well
yeah,
also I would call that more of an agreement than a concession because that's a view that they've always held, right? But like the last thing I'll say is
Mhm.
yeah, the moment they figured out what you were trying to communicate, they're like, oh yeah, of course I agree with that, right? It's
Mhm.
just there was like communication issues as far as I could tell. That's not bad faith though. They wouldn't have been able to guess what you meant by that statement, right?
They wouldn't let
But
me
anyways,
talk.
I gotta go.
No problem.
See
but
y'all later.
all right, see ya. Yeah,
Yeah,
I get what like it's like if they're moral anti-realists, right? They have
they are
you know
moral
they have they're
anti-realist, anti-realist, or moral
yeah,
realist. Which one
they're
are they?
moral anti they are moral anti-realists, I believe.
Let me look it up. I don't remember these terms. Moral anti-re.
Basically, morality is within the individual.
Right, morality is only subjective. That's
Yeah,
morally anti-realist?
I think yeah, I think so.
Let me look it up.
I'm not like an expert on uh
Additionally,
meta ethics.
let me see. Moral anti-realism is a doctrine in metaethics that denies the existence of objective moral values or normative facts. Yeah, so they're moral anti-realist. Oh, I understand that morality
So
is not
now, yeah.
part of reality. That's very good. So I need to fix my proposition. But
So now you understand. Like it's like if veganism is let's say the value the arbitrary value 100 um and Nazism is the arbitrary value like 4. If they're more anti-realist, they're multiplying that by 0, both by 0. So yeah, they would be morally equivalent because
exactly. But if you
morality would
but
not
if,
be real.
but if you claim that you are ethical,
Do they claim to be ethical vegans?
yes, that
In
was
our in our ethics and morality the same?
look, my proposition was ethical veganism is utter nonsense. So you could say that instead of utter nonsense, you should say equal to 0. That's fine too. So stop using the word ethical. You said you don't like the word ethical. I don't like the word ethical. But if you use
I think it's too vague. I
I
don't think
agree.
people are talking about the same thing.
I
If
agree.
there's not a problem with it, if people use ethical as synonymous with like compassion, or like
No.
preventing abuse or something,
No, no. Then I will
I think I would be on board with that.
no, I can prove to you that the Nazis were just the same. Right? Because if we're moral anti-realists, then the Nazis would say exactly the same about Nazism, and you wouldn't have any ethical advantage over the Nazis. So mathematically, you would be just as compassionate as the Nazis. No,
I don't see how that follows.
yeah, it's subjective. Obviously, the Nazis felt that they are compassionate.
They felt.
Yes, just like you feel
Yes.
that veganism is compassionate. Yeah.
Yes. So
Mm-hmm.
here's the difference. If I if I kill 2 men,
Mm-hmm.
or I grant two men some form of therapy that heals their wounds and provides them extra 25 years of life, is the killing of the two men, let's say it's for no reason, and let's say the healing of the two men was just out of the kindness of the heart, and like these were like normal people that like would go on to live normal lives of relative decency. Would the person that healed the two people be acting more compassionately than the person that killed the two people?
According to him,
Objectively,
no, there's no objective morality. You cannot
it's
say
not
objective.
morality. We're talking about an action. We're talking about compassion, which is the act of healing
No,
physical or mental wounds.
you say objectively. So that means in reference to no one, right? Right. Subjectively is in reference to a subject. Objectively is in reference to no subject. So objectively is actually not defined. So when you say something is objective, you just took away the definition. So
Sure,
objective.
we can look at this closer, like in terms of objective compassion. If you, like I said, if you like, let's say there's an open gash, like a wound on someone that needs medical attention to heal, and the person, let's, for simplicity's sake, it's a very, all other things are equal, pain is equal, um, but that gash, if it's not treated, that person will die. It would be objectively more compassionate if you had. It would be objectively compassionate,
No,
more compassionate to
no,
close up that gash.
no. You cannot
It is
make
not. You're saying it does not heal the person to close up that gash.
no. It would be subjective to me. I could agree with you. Subjective to somebody, I could agree with you. They could agree with you, but that's subjective. Objective is undefined. Objective
So
means
you don't believe in objective measures of health?
exactly. The word objective is unreachable by definition because
So if someone lives 70 years, and someone lives 40 years, did the person that was 70, were they like, you don't believe that they were
but that's
healthier
no,
than the
that's
person that 40 years?
no. When you say I don't believe, if I am the observer, then I can agree with you. But objective means there's no observer. You're violating Einstein's theory of relativity. You're claiming that objective facts exist.
So you don't believe that, like, you don't believe there's objective facts at all?
Correct.
You don't
Object.
believe that there's like a certain amount of
Wait,
particles in the universe?
wait, hold on.
Correct.
How does believing that there are
Um.
objective facts, how does that come in violation of Einstein's theory of relativity?
Yeah, I'll explain in a second. I'm just gonna put on a shirt, so I have to take off the mic for 1 second. Hold on. Okay, so Einstein discovered something incredible about the universe. He discovered that objective facts don't exist, or we have no access to anything objective.
That's not what Einstein discovered.
Yes. The theory is called relativity. The theory of relativity is a philosophical theory. It
No,
says
it's
that
not.
No, it's about time
The
dilation.
theory of relativity is entirely a scientific theory.
yeah,
When I say that it's based off of empirical investigations and
yeah,
predictions
yeah,
made
yeah.
empirically. So first,
Yeah.
it's not a philosophical theory. And secondly, the theory of relativity doesn't say anything about whether there are objective facts or not. The theory of relativity says that time is something that's relative. It doesn't say that there aren't any objective facts. So how is it the case that the theory of relativity actually entails that there
The
aren't any
theory,
objective
the
facts.
theory of relativity says that you cannot express anything about the universe without explaining the frame of reference. In other words, without explaining the observer. In other words, without explaining who is it relative to, or who is it measuring. That's the theory of relativity. Measurement has no meaning without a measurer. It has to be
That's
relative
correct.
to. Whatever you say
How
about
does that mean that there aren't objective facts?
how can you have an objective fact without a measurer? I mean, objective means there's no measurer. It's not relative to
No,
anything. You
maybe
There's
so. Maybe you're not clear on what by objective fact. I just mean fact where
relative to
the
what?
truth value. Sorry, I just
Relative to
mean
what? So you
I
make
just
a
mean a proposition. Sorry, I wasn't actually done. I just mean the truth value of the proposition is
relative to
independent.
relative to what?
When I say sorry, I wasn't actually done. When I say the truth value stands independent, I just mean the truth value would be the same if your attitude or your kind of mental state towards the proposition was different.
Who's relative to whom? Who is the measurer? Who's saying it? Who believes it? Who? I mean, you have to have someone. It's you.
None of those affect whether or not they're
But,
objective
but
facts.
that's your opinion. So it's relative to you. So it's
What do you take
okay.
in? Sorry, when you say there are no objective facts, what do you take objective to mean?
Okay, I'll be quiet.
What do you take objective to mean?
Excuse me?
What do you take objective to mean?
Objective means that there is no observer. It's relative to no one. So it makes no sense.
You mean the true value of the proposition is relative to no one?
Yeah. I mean I mean you
Yeah.
make
So even if there are observers in the world, it doesn't follow that just because there's an observer that the actual truth value of P is relative.
no, there is no truth value. There's only a truth value as observed by the observer. So the observer can observe
Yeah,
a truth
and
value
if the
doesn't
and even if an observer observes a truth value, you could say like there's some like state there's like a proposition. It's kind of an open question as to whether or not that proposition is true. And the observer can make an observation.
Yeah.
And
Relative
he'll
to
figure out that and he could figure out that that proposition is in fact true.
yeah.
Now even if he observes the truth value, it
Mhm.
doesn't follow that the truth value is actually stance dependent.
Whatever the observer feels or measures, it's relative to the observer. You have to
Sorry,
have an observer.
did you understand what I just said?
No.
Yeah, so I can repeat it. So
Mhm.
even if somebody observes the truth value of P, it doesn't follow from that that the truth value of P is itself relative.
I don't understand. Any wait,
Yeah.
I didn't
So
yeah.
so our observation is just a way we can figure out whether things are true or not. You could call that like a
No.
method of confirmation.
No.
Okay?
No.
And if
Absolutely
we were
not.
to observe,
No.
and if
no.
we sorry,
No. You can
and
no. You
sorry,
can
excuse
stop.
me,
No, you can
excuse
stop.
me,
Because
and if we were
I
to
already
sorry,
did.
excuse me, and if we were to observe the truth or falsity of P,
No.
the method we use to
No.
sort of deduce the truth value
No.
is different from the truth
No.
value itself.
No.
And so we can observe the truth
No.
of P, and
No.
our observation
No.
is kind of stipulate that P is true. But
No.
the truth value of P is
No.
actually something
No.
that is independent of the
No.
observation.
No. No. Everything you said no from the beginning. There is no value. There is only an observation. What you observe, that's all you have. It's not that you observe something that exists independently. All you have is the observation. You don't know if there is a universe. All you know is that you observe a universe.
All right, did you understand what I just said?
I mean, the way you speak, it sounds like the observation is a discovery of some objective reality. And
Hey,
that's
can
not
you
true.
can you kind of repeat? Can you kind of repeat back to me what the point I just made was?
Okay, say something short and I'll gladly repeat it.
No, say the point I just made. Can you repeat back to me what it was?
It sounded like there is some reality that the observation discovers. That's what it sounded like.
Okay. I don't think you're listening to anything I'm saying, so I'm just not gonna waste my time anymore.
That's nice. Okay. All right. Too bad. That was sort of a nice discussion. I'm trying to think. Could I have said something? It's like he wanted to be correct, I guess. So he didn't like the fact that I blocked his he needs an objective reality. They all need an objective reality. It all hinges on objective reality. They're all objectivists. So sorry to pop your bubble, but you have no access to objective reality. You have no, you don't speak for God. You didn't talk to God, and you're not going to come and tell me something about the universe. Your personal opinion about the universe is equivalent to everyone else's opinion about the universe. So if you claim to be ethical, you cannot claim that the Nazis were not ethical. You have to claim that the Nazis, in their own minds, were as ethical as you are ethical. So veganism can only be as, if you claim veganism is ethical, it can only be as ethical as Nazism. So if you claim veganism is ethical, you have to concede Nazism is ethical. Done. Sorry about that. All right, I think we're done with this stream. Unfortunately, everybody ran away. Poor vegans. Okay, everyone, have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.